Om Akhandamandakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om. Welcome to this 35th week. Readings and Reflections, The Life of Holy Mother. We are reading from this book, Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, written by Swami Gambhirananda. We are in a chapter 12 called In Her Husband's Cottage. Page 154. In the course of a short time, a great change came over the Kamarpukur family. The mother's nephews, Ramlal and Shivaram, and her niece, Lakshmi Devi, then lived generally at Dakshineswar, though they very often came to their village home to stay there for short periods. We have noted that Ramlal or Ramlal Dada was somewhat indifferent towards the mother. But this cannot be said about Shivaram or Shibu Dada, as he was generally called. Shibu Dada received from the mother his first alms after his investiture with the sacred thread, and so he regarded her more as his godmother than as an aunt, and the mother too treated him as a son. Long after, when the mother was permanently residing at Jairambati, Shibu Dada sat for his lunch at Kamarpukur one day. But when he had half finished, the desire grew in him to eat something from his godmother's hand. And so he walked to Jairambati, and after having been fed by Holy Mother, returned to Kamarpukur with a beetle in his mouth given by her. We have many such instances of the mother's affection for all of them. Once, during this period, Lakshmi Devi and many others were present at Kamarpukur. Till then, the family was a joint one. But as misfortune would have it, the family was broken up by partition. Lakshmi Devi was a Vaishnava by temperament. Sometimes she sang Vaishnava songs inside the house with a sweet voice, which attracted people of a similar faith. The mother could not be quite easy about this. She remembered that when Lakshmi Devi sang in this way before the master, imitating fully the gestures and postures of professional singers, the master, while enjoying it, was amused. But he warned the mother, "That's Lakshmi's temperament. Don't you tread on her footsteps and throw your modesty to the winds." Besides this difference, the divergence of outlook in daily talks and actions between the Holy Mother and the rest of the family became more pronounced as days rolled on. The mother preferred to spend the rest of her days peacefully in the thought of the master, while around her others swirled the currents and cross currents of the world into whose vortex they wanted to draw the mother as well. The mother remained unperturbed and unruffled, never uttering a word of protest. But the Chatterjee family did nothing to avert the split that is usual under such circumstances. Thus, despite the passivity on the one side, the aggressiveness on the other threw the mother out of the main body. One day, on her return from Jairambati, the mother found that Ramlal Dada had left for Dakshineswar with the others after making some arrangement for the daily worship of Raghuvira. To her share had fallen the little cottage of the master. She entered therein, determined to keep up its sanctity. On a study of the mother's life, we come to learn that commencing from her arrival at Kamarpukur in September 1887, she lived there for about 9 months, up to April 1888, after which the devotees brought her to Calcutta. From Calcutta, she again went to Kamarpukur in February next and lived there almost for a similar period. Most probably, the subsequent periods of her stay there were never so long, though she came to live there quite a number of times. It is not possible to determine definitely the time of various incidents that took place during those periods of stay. In the account so far presented, we have made no attempt to date the incidents exactly. And in what follows too, we shall not try to do more than indicate the dates in general way. During the mother's stay at Kamarpukur, the visits from the devotees were few and far between. Of course, most of them were too poor to undertake the pilgrimage. But the few who went there were received heartily by the mother, for the meetings of persons that are akin and familiar were always delightful. Such visits rather relieved the monotony of her otherwise dull village life. But all visits were not welcome. On the contrary, some were a source of trouble. Once at least, the mother had to face such an embarrassing situation. Harish, a devotee of the master, was a constant visitor at the first mutt of the Ramakrishna order at Varanagar, and this frightened his wife. With a view to counteracting this tendency to renunciation, she surreptitiously applied drugs and charms, which brought about a certain derangement of his mind. While still under the influence of those drugs, Harish visited the mother at Kamarpukur. The mother could at once see through the mind of the man and hence wrote to the mutt to take him away. Accordingly, Swami Saradananda and Niranjanananda started for Kamarpukur. But before they could reach there, Harish's lunacy grew out of control, and the mother had to devise her own remedy for this. We present this incident in her own words. At this time, Harish came and stayed at Kamarpukur. One day, I was returning from a neighboring house. As I stepped into the courtyard, Harish began chasing me. Harish was not in his senses then. His wife had drugged him, and madness had followed upon it. There was nobody else in the house. So, where could I escape? In a hurry, I began circling round the barn of paddy near the master's birthplace. But he would not give up the chase. After going round for 7 times, I could run no longer. Then I stood firm, working myself up to my full stature, literally assuming my own form, and then placing my knee on his chest and taking hold of his tongue, I slapped him on his cheeks so hard that he began to gasp for breath. My fingers became red. It is difficult now to ascertain in what sense the mother used the words my full stature. Many believe that since the mother was an incarnation of the mother of the universe, it was possible for her to assume all kinds of divine forms and attitudes. And in the present context, she became Bagala to punish with heroic hands the demon in the person of Harish. Bagala is one of the 10 Mahavidyas, forms of the Great Mother. In that form, she killed a demon in the very same way as the mother punished Harish. There is no reason why a devotee should not believe this, but even a matter of fact man will be surprised to see how the mother, who was noted all along for her modesty, meekness, and mercy, could at a critical moment be on her mettle. When we look more closely into such incidents of her life, it strikes us that the poet who penned the line in the Chandi, of all beings in the three worlds, heaven, earth, and hell, in you alone, O goddess, is seen a kindness of heart combined with heroism in fight, was truly a seer. That punishment cured Harish not only for the time being. Later, he fled to Vrindavan on the arrival of Swami Niranjanananda and there became fully normal after some time. So we find two instances coming out very loudly in these passages. So, welcome everyone to this 35th week of the readings and reflections. So, last week we saw how Holy Mother's stay at Kamarpukur was having many problems. Of that, those problems, two problems we discussed in detail. Now, the author, Swami Gambhirananji, is taking us to another dimension of the Holy Mother. What is that? He's telling that he, that is the master, had given her and enkindled all the divine powers that she possesses. So, sometime or other, Mother has been manifesting those attitudes of the Divine Mother. In one of our talks on Shodashi Puja, we discussed about the 10 forms of Dasha Mahavidyas. Divine Mother has got 10 forms. As per the Puranas, it is said that Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva, asked his permission to go to her father's house, Daksha, father's house, to attend to a yajna, a very big sacrifice he had arranged. And Shiva said, there was no invitation to me, so I am not going there. Naturally, being my wife, you are also not supposed to go there. But then Sati argued with him. How do you say like that? Yes, I am your wife. He has not invited you, that is also a fact. But then, that is my father's house. My own house till I got married to you. So naturally, I will go there. There will be no problem, whatsoever. Like that, she put it. But then Shiva prevented her. No, you should not go. At that time, Sati got enraged. So it is said she spread out herself in 10 forms and stood in 10 directions. Generally, we all know 4 directions, is it not? East, west, north, south. But in between east and north, there is northeast is there. Like that, there are total 8 directions we know. But then there are upper and lower directions are also there. Taking these 2 into account, there are total 10 directions. So in 10 directions, Sati stood. These are all mythology I'm telling about it. So these mythological stories, of course, have got great meaning, as I repeatedly tell you again and again. When we get time, we'll of course discuss. But today I'm going to discuss the inner aspect of some other mythological aspect of the same thing. But what is that? 10 aspects she took. And those 10 are called Dasha Mahavidyas. It begins with Kali. So Kali, Tara, Shodashi. These are the first 3 of the Dasha Mahavidyas. And the second is Bhairavi, Bhuvaneshwari, and Matangi. Then another third is there. 3 plus 3, 6. Another 3, they are Dhumavati, Bagalamukhi Devi, as it's called. And then Bhairavi. And then later, last is 10th is Kamala. So the 10 Mahavidyas are there. In these 10 Mahavidyas, you will find one Mahavidya is called Bagalamukhi, or simply called Bagala. Now, when you think of this Bagala, you're really surprised how she expressed, she means Holy Mother, Sri Sarada Devi, expressed the divinity that is expressed by the Divine Mother in the Bagalamukhi form. So Bagalamukhi is one of the 10 Dashamagyaas, as I told you, the 10 wisdoms. So the 10 wisdoms, each has got its own form. If you want to worship any particular form of these 10 Mahavidyas, there are certain rules and regulations are there. There are puja paddhatis are there. That is the exact format of the puja of each. So the color is associated. What should be offered is associated. What ornaments have to be given is associated. And what type of color of the clothes that should be given. And even the pujari, what color cloth he should wear. All these things are given in the puja paddhati. But then you'll find for Bagalamukhi, yellow is very auspicious. So yellow color is associated with her. So she is given a yellow cloth. Not only she is given yellow cloth, she is given yellow golden ornaments, and she is seated on a rock where the water is, pool is there. That pool water is all yellow. It is called Haridra Sarovar. Haridra means, turmeric. So the Purana story says that when Vishnu could not control a storm that arose, the storm was so big and the storm was about to destroy the entire universe. And when it was so angry and it came and it was destroying the universe, at that time Vishnu remembered the Divine Mother. And Divine Mother emerged from the turmeric pond. She had yellow. All her body was smeared with turmeric. And yellow woman like she came up. And then she controlled that big storm. So turmeric also is associated with Bagalamukhi. It's a beautiful way that how Vedanta goes. There was one great writer on Vedanta, on Shakti particularly. He has written a beautiful book also on Devi Mahatmyam, Daniel. And this Daniel had an Indian name also here. And then in his book, he discusses how the Brahman as a supreme consciousness expresses in different ways. It's very interesting to read that article. I think our admin has given you the link in the chat. Later you can click it and go through the article. It's an excellent article in two parts. It is first part and second part. So because 10 Dashamahavidyas are there, so he has divided 5 or 6, 4 like that. So in two parts he has written. There, Bagalamukhi paragraphs, you must go through it. How beautifully he explains in connection with Vedantic thought. So he says that this tongue is an expression, is an indication, or is a symbol of words. Just imagine if the tongue is not in proper health, will you be able to speak out words? No. No word can come out. But at the same time, the words you cannot pronounce may be available in your thought. You'll be able to think, no doubt, but you cannot pronounce it. The pronunciation must be there with the help of the tongue. So the tongue is a very important organ in our 5 sense organs. And so this tongue, what Bagalamukhi does, there was a great asura called Madanasura. His name was Madan, and being asura is called Madanasura. This Madanasura speaks loudly and he uses such crass words against Divine Mother, and he goes for a fight with her. Now it is said that Divine Mother comes to control that Madanasura. The whole world got stunned seeing Madanasura speaking such bad words, bad mouth as we say. And such words you are speaking. As I told you, the words are the grossest manifestation of the Supreme Consciousness, which is Chaitanya, in the form of Vak Shakti. So, in Brahman, in the Supreme Consciousness, there is a Vak Shakti. This Vak is united with Brahman. That's why we call Nada Brahman. The sound is called Brahman. So the Brahman is united with this Vak Shakti. As Brahman has got many Shaktis. So one of them is the Vak Shakti. In the cosmic sense, this Vak Shakti is imagined by or learned by our sages as a goddess. So Vak Shakti is none other than goddess Saraswati. So this Vak Shakti is the subtlest of the form of the sound. Now you understand, from there you come down, how the sound Shakti takes its manifestation. So Vedanta says it has got 3 stages of its manifestation. So first is intention. Second is read as intention and desire. And third is motion or action. So these are the 3 stages that a Vak Shakti, the power of the word Vak Shakti, takes its course to come to the last level, the grossest form of a pronounced word, spoken word as it is called. That is the grossest form. Even I pronounce Narayana. This is the grossest form of that Vak Shakti at the individual level. You must always remember macrocosm and microcosm. These two are parallel. And all the things that are in Brahman is in the Jiva. So Jiva and Brahman are one in substance. So this microcosm and macrocosm runs parallel. So this Vak Shakti, when you think of the part of consciousness, Chaitanya, in cosmic level, and the same thing is available to us at the individual level also. At the individual level also, the cosmic level, as the Brahman, Taittiriya Upanishad says, Brahman, so kamayata, he thought of, he intended, he desired. Bhusyamiti, let me become many. Prajayeti, let me have progeny. And then he created this universe. After creating this universe, Tadanu Pravishat, he entered into it. So that Brahman first had an intention to do something. So intention first comes, and then it desires. So that is the process. And finally, it makes or it does. So these 3 processes of manifestation are devised in Vedanta. So Vedanta says these 3 processes are used when the cosmic way, how the universe came about. If you think about that, you will understand these 3 processes are necessary for the Chaitanya to become everything in this universe. Now come to the individual level. In the individual level also, the same thing happens. Is it not? In the individual level, we have the same Vak Shakti inside. So we pray to Mother Saraswati. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini. So Kamayata, the Brahman, Taittiriya Upanishad says, Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. So we pray to Mother Saraswati, I am going to study now. For that, you give me success all the time. Not now only, all the time, sada. Every time you give me that success. That is how we pray to Saraswati. Why? Because that Vak Shakti is within all of us. And that Vak Shakti comes out in four forms. If you go to Tantric lore, you'll find Tantrics or the Tantric sages, they have analyzed. Actually, you can see the Hindu psychology is mostly based on yoga and Tantra. These two, if you put together, you can get the best Hindu psychology. And this yoga and Tantra combined together, they have devised many, many theories. And some of the theories are not even put to test now. The science has not come up to that level. So when the time comes, you will see how each of these theories are wonderfully coming up and be proved again and again in this world. And Sri Ramakrishna's life, you see that he has been experiencing all these theories that have been said in the scriptures. So Tantric scriptures, they say there is what called this Vak Shakti is an individual level. It is called para. And then second level, it comes down to Pashyanti. Then third level is Madhyama. And the fourth level is called Vaikhari. The Vaikhari is the stage where we pronounce the words, spoken words. The Madhyama is the stage where we are processing the words that has come to us at the pre-level, before Madhyama. That is Pashyanti level. In that level, we have conceived that idea. Idea has come, but then idea has not been verbalized, or word has not been associated with that idea. You can ask whether any idea can be there without the word. Yes. That is called para, above. Idea level. Idea level need not have any words at all. You know, when you talk to your pets, I'm giving an example. Many houses, they are keeping pets. I have also had a pet in Ranchi. So I used to talk to it, not at the Vaikhari level, at the word level. You don't need to even pronounce. You can be at your office. The idea comes about it, that pet will understand. The person who is keeping the pet knows. In South Africa, many people have got pets, and they used to tell me about how the pets understand what they think. They don't need to even tell, come here, sit. Like that, they don't need to say. They think and it happens. Before it is being formulated into word form. So this particular Shakti, the Vak Shakti, is within all of us. So what is the final, the grossest level the Vak can come is that Vaikhari level, which is done, which is accomplished by the help of the tongue. So the tongue has got so big past history. So that's why it is said one must use the tongue very, very proper way, that is very cautiously. The tongue, which helps you to bring out a word, can damage a person, can bring untold sufferings if he starts using the words that are not to be uttered. So at the grossest form, it is a weapon. So that weapon, if you use it indiscriminately, then what happens? You have to suffer for the consequences. That is what that Madanasura abused the wonderful gift that God has given us, the tongue. He abused it. For that, what is the punishment? Bagalamukhi came. So Bagalamukhi, that is Bagala Devi, she made him, she first floored him and then sat on his chest pushing the chest with one of her knees, pressing it down. And she took her right hand and put it into his mouth and drew the tongue out. And then Madanasura got the knowledge at that time. Because she is the person who removes the knowledge, who removes the ignorance, darkness, and she brings the knowledge. So by removing the tongue, she brought knowledge to him. That's the mythology says. So here you see the same type of trait we find in Holy Mother. In this incident, we find that she is doing exactly the same type as Bagala did in the mythology, what we read. So, Harish, he was a good boy. He used to come to Sri Ramakrishna very well. Sri Ramakrishna liked this boy. But then he got married and he started coming to Ramakrishna and the monks, etc. So his wife got afraid. She thought she may just leave everything and become a monk. So she used to give him, without his knowledge, some medicines, some drugs. In Ayurveda also, got a lot of drugs are there. There are certain trees which are all poisonous trees. Not all trees and all fruits are edible, mind you. There are some trees whose uh, even the leaves emit poisonous vibrations. So the such poisons are there, and it will just make you deranged if you eat that. Such drugs, she got it. Not only she got the drug, she went to one mantrika. As I said, the tantrika, I thought there is a mantrika also. This mantrika, nowadays mostly you find dubious mantrikas are there, but the mantras can work. So she went to a mantrika and told him that I want to wean away my husband from all those places, people. So give me do something. So he did some mantra. So these mantras and these drugs, these two made him almost got him mind out. He was not normal. And he came all the way he came to Kamarpukur to stay with Sri Ramakrishna's place it is. So he came. And mother knew how Sri Ramakrishna loved Harish. So she welcomed him. That's why here Gambhiranji, very beautiful sentence he says. He says here, I'll just read the sentence because it struck me. The few who went there, that is at Kamarpukur, were received heartily by the mother. For what is the reason? The meetings of persons that are akin and familiar were always delightful. Such visits rather relieved the monotony of her otherwise dull village life. You see, she has been leading a dull village life at Kamarpukur. There was no one, as we saw in the previous weeks, there was no one to talk to except Prasanna. So that dull life, that monotony was removed by when the people who are akin and known familiar faces when they come. That happens to everyone also. In your own life, you must have seen when you see. In our ashrams also, we are also delighted to meet the devotees when they come. Though we don't lead a dull life here, we are very busy here all the time. But then even today, you see the community program is going on just outside our ashram. And the whole community is there. They are doing some program to help one of the affected person. So they like that, always busy. We are having always the activities going on. And even in this midst, if a known person, a familiar person comes to us, we are indeed very happy. Whatever we have, we share with them. Come, why don't you have little something, what we have now? So we share with them. So like that, mother also used to do. In that way, she took Harish. Harish is known to Sri Ramakrishna, so she was quite happy. But then, who knew that he has been drugged And there are also mantras are working on him by which he became almost deranged. One day, mother was coming from a neighbor's visit, then, and at that time, none was there in the home. Whoever was there has gone out, like Lakshmi, etc. They have all gone out, perhaps, and none was there, and the home was empty. In the villages, generally we don't lock, etc. The homes are just open like that. So she's coming back. At that time, Harish was there, and Harish deranged brain, and he started chasing her. Just imagine that mother is almost 100% to 100% modesty she expresses. She's quiet. She doesn't even talk loudly. Such a person was chased by Harish, and Harish chasing her, and she didn't know what to do. So she went round and round the barn that has been kept there. The paddies are kept there, and she went round and round to escape from his capture. 7 times she went, then she became tired. Now, what you should do? You cannot accuse to that man. She knew that he has got a bad intention now because he is not in a normal. An abnormal person can think abnormally. So, what she immediately understood Harish's intention. What was his intention? She understood. And she stood. And she herself says, in her own words, she said, I assumed my stature. So what was that? Now for us to understand, we now think, what is this? What type of stature she has got? Now we can understand when we think as the great divine mother, the power of the Brahman has come in the form of the power of Ishvara has come in the form of Holy Mother, in the feminine form. Then we have got no problem in accepting that she exhibited the Bagalamukhi's trait on that day. So that is what we find from this incident. So it's a very important incident for us to understand that after the passing away of the master, how many types of divine qualities she exhibited. And when she sat and crushed his tongue, and the blood oozed out, and her hand became bloody. And that is what in Bagalamukhi's description also we find that Bagala also, her right hand is all blood tainted because she pulled Madanasura's tongue, and the same way she pulled and controlled. So Bagalamukhi, what is the main purpose of worshipping Bagalamukhi? Of the 10 Mahavidyas, each Mahavidya has got a particular purpose. As we saw Shodashi. Shodashi is one of the 10 Mahavidyas. How? As a Tripura Sundari, Sri Ramakrishna worshipped her. Tripura Sundari, who is the mother of the entire universe. That is how he worshipped his wife as his mother. Now, likewise, each of these Mahavidya has got a particular purpose. So Bagala is famous to be worshipped for stopping any type of suffering that comes from others. A suffering, a physical torture. If it comes to you, who is going to help you? The Devi in the Bagala form can come and help you. She can, what she does, by her grace, she will paralyze the other person. That is the beauty of it. She paralyzes, completely paralyzes. So taking out the tongue means paralyzing the person's words. He cannot speak out. He was abusing her. So that abuse of the words are completely stopped when the tongue was out. So this is called paralyzing. So this paralysis happens. So this happens in many of the circumstances are there. So at that time, Bagala helps us. So Bagalamukhi also, and Bagalamukhi, not many temples you will find in India, but in Nepal there is a temple And in India, it's a Madhya Pradesh, there is one temple. Even in Kanchipuram, you have a Bagla temple. And in Kamakya in Assam, along with the Kamakya Mandir, you'll find in one place, just a little distance, walkable distance, you find Bagalamukhi's temple also is there. So you find in Devi Kshetras, where the places where the Devi is worshipped and manifesting herself in a greater way, in those places also this Bagalamukhi is worshipped. So these Dashama Vidyas are wonderful. So here, Sri Swami Gambhirananji is, is, is he's putting a question and answering also in a way for us to get convinced. See, we are reading this book, but do we go much deeper into this? That is what he wants us. He says that in the present context, there is no reason why a devotee should not believe this. Are you a devotee? Then yes, you can believe this. Why? As a matter of fact, man will be surprised to see how the mother, who was noted all along for her modesty, meekness, and mercy, could at the critical moment be on her mettle. That is the beauty of the mother, the unique nature of the mother, a divine. This power is within every woman. When you are put on the back on the wall, as they say, then you come out. Your sterling quality of fighting comes out. And in many of the normal, ordinary women also we have seen. Now think of Holy Mother. In her, how much it should be. And this very Harish, after her touch on his tongue and being drawn, then what happened to him? He became completely a transformed person. He went to Vrindavan and spent all his days in the Namasmarana and singing the glory of Lord Krishna. No more abusive word. The grossest form of word I told you of the Vak Shakti has been converted. And it has been converted in such a way, it speaks only of the godly names. That's why don't be satisfied by taking one name or two names. Take the 1,000 names. Vishnu Sahasranamam. Like that. Lalita Sahasranamam. These are 1,000 names. Why you are satisfied with one name? The tongue is meant there for that only, to speak of God and His glory. So let the tongue speak. If the tongue does not speak the God's glory, what is the use of the tongue? If the feet does not get used for going pradakshana of the temples, what is the use of having the feet? If the ears cannot hear the glory of God, what is the use of having it? They can go as well deaf. Each organ, Lord Shankaracharya says in his Stotra, that what is the use of this organ if cannot have association of God? So the tongue is a very important thing. And so Harish becomes wonderful. But before that, we saw how Lakshmi Devi is said, she is also a niece of Ramakrishna. And here, of course, the book says the mother's nephews, Ramlal, Shivaram, and her niece Lakshmi Devi. So, Ramlal, Shivaram, yes, Lakshmi Devi, and mother's nephews, it says Ramlal is actually master's nephew. But as I told you in the previous one of the classes, that Kamar Pukur is the place of mother. So you can take it like that. So nephew of Ramakrishna becomes nephew of mother also. So Ramlal was there, Shivaram was there, and niece Lakshmi Devi was there. Lakshmi Devi also is wonderful life. At a young age, her life was, of course, very sad life, suffered life. She got married at a very young age and became a widow. And if you go to Puri Dham in Odisha, you will find there is a Lakshmi Devi's ashram is there. So where Lakshmi used to stay there and do constantly thinking of Puri Jagannath, Lord Jagannath she used to think. And such Lakshmi Devi had great devotion to Lord Krishna. So every time she would think of Lord Krishna, and she was earlier thinking of Mother as Divine Mother, Shyama, that is Mother Kali. Then only Sri Ramakrishna, when she came to Ramakrishna from the village, Ramakrishna instructed her, no, 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 that is not your deity. Your deity is Krishna. So Shyam Sundar, he said, and he initiated her also. And then she became a saint on her own. Even in the Kamarpukur, which was staying, Dakshineswar itself, she initiated people also in the name of Lord. And she had certain devotees who constructed a small cottage for her, and she used to stay there. She's wonderful. At a young age, she used to be very boisterous when she used to sing the name of God. When the bhajans are done, Sri Ramakrishna used to dance. He would get up from his seat and would dance. And all the people are dancing, with that khol is being played. And Chaitanya songs are there. And they are wonderful songs. If you go to Bengal, even now these are all in vogue. Anywhere, any place, any temple worship place, you'll find people are singing with khol and mridangam and kartal. So with all that, those are very rhythmic tunes are there. The tunes are really very beautiful. Even in YouTube, you get those songs. And so rhythmic tunes. Any Krishna songs are very rhythmic. And you can see that in that rhythm, it won't make you keep quiet. Either you'll start clapping in the beginning and your feet will start giving tal, and then you will start jumping out, and then you start dancing. So Sri Ramakrishna used to dance. In many places in the gospel, we find Sri Ramakrishna dancing. So this girl, much less in age, and she would also dance like any other men folk. Now it was amusing to Sri Ramakrishna. Yes, but the mother also would be swayed by the tune of the song, the words of the song. So mother would like to dance. But mother's modesty was such. The lajja patavrate nityam, sarade jnanadayike. So that lajja is there. She's patavrata. She's fully covered by lajja, that modesty. So because of the modesty, she would not go and dance. So Sri Ramakrishna was very particular also. He told mother, you don't dance like her. She just cautioned her. Because he knew that lajja, that modesty, how much mother had. So this Lakshmi Devi was a wonderful lady. She was there. And now, the point why Lakshmi Devi's boisterous dancing and singing was brought here was because that was not the time mother wanted to be like that. Sri Ramakrishna has passed away. She has come to Kamarpukur. She thought at least for 1 or 2 years she should be quiet life. That is what she wanted. And the Kamarpukur surroundings, her relations that is in-law surroundings, were such that they were having a big discussions and currents and cross currents, as the author puts it here, of the family life, which mother was not at all interested. She wanted to be quiet, but then while making gossip and talking, they wanted to drag mother also in the vortex of this cross currents. Now you can understand how mother is completely disillusioned by coming to Kamarpukur. Oh, she thought people are talking about worldly things, and in all the worldly matters, they are constantly dragging me into it. I don't want to go there. So but mother, because of her higher spiritual evolution, she remained unperturbed and unruffled, never uttering a word of protest. That is the beauty that we all have to learn from mother. Never she uttered a protest. So what? Because they do not know. They are talking like that. But she never uttered a protest. So this is the passivity of mother. And then what happened? Ramlal, one day he went away. She went to Jairamati for a few days and came back and saw Ramlal has gone away. And where Sri Ramakrishna's room was there, that cottage was given to mother. And it was mother thought that I should keep this sanctity of this cottage. So she was very particular about this. So this is how the author takes us to different manifestations of the Divine Mother. So he says there are many times Mother visited Kamarpukur, and the author surmises that it is not possible to keep date-wise all these incidents when she came, etc. So there is no proper diary also. So what he says is that I am not going to tell you exactly the date, every incident, but I will just roughly tell you which year it happened, where it happened, like that. That's what he, in an apologetic way, he says. So that is so that we may understand. Otherwise, when we are reading this life history of Holy Mother in a date wise, that is year wise, we are reading it, that may get confused. Oh, this incident happened later, that is happened earlier, like that we should not get confused. So to clear that confusion, the Swami Gambhiranji very clearly tells us, this is what my plan while writing this book. Okay, that is it. And then we saw Harish also as Bagala, how Holy Mother came away. So, with this idea of Mother exhibiting or manifesting her divine qualities, in what are the other ways she has manifested? One by one, we may see that. So many times during the course of the discourse of this on this life, we may take up that same Dasha Mahavidyas and how she has been brought her quality, her character, molded into that and brought to us. So it's a wonderful study of the life divine that we are doing. I'm very thankful today. I'm not extending to another paragraph because otherwise outside also as a big function is going on. So nearly 7 minutes before I'm concluding today's session. Om Kripam Kuru Mahadevi Suteshu Pranateshu Cha Charanasraya Danena Kripamayi Namostute. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Pranamastu.